Florida, Republican Ted Yoho is a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Great to see you today. My big question is, how can anybody talk about there not being a strategy until we know what comes up?
Yeah, it's kind of funny how Senator Warren came out and said that. I think this is moving on very well. And keep in mind, it's the potential to sit down and talk. So it's the beginning point. We've got to have the beginning to go anywhere. And I think President Trump will do quite well in this.
On the House Foreign Affairs Committee, I can imagine that you talk about all sorts of scenarios, about all sorts of things. Is there ever a point where you say, this is just one meeting? I mean, the president has said he may get up and walk out. We don't even know what's going to happen.
Right, and I chair the Asia Pacific Subcommittee on Foreign Affairs, so we're in this all the time. We talk about this every week, and if you can't sit down to start the beginning of the negotiations, it's not going to go anywhere. And like you said, President Trump could walk out, but I don't think so. This is such an important area that we all focus on and make sure we do this properly so that we don't make the mistakes of the previous 3 administrations.
The White House Deputy Press Secretary has talked about the details being worked out right now. Congressman, what do those details need to look at? Look like, rather. I know we've got time, location, that sort of thing.
Right. I think you'll find a location picked out. I think the most common sense one would be the DMZ at the parallel where they built those facilities between North and South Korea for specific these kind of reasons, for this kind of reason and this kind of negotiation. And from there, we'll go into the things that we're going to demand and they're going to demand. And I think the best thing is that we all need to sit and watch patiently as this unrolls, and let's all hope that we can get to a peaceful negotiation where there's denuclearization and hopefully unification of the Korean Peninsula.
Right, and I hear from what you're saying, you don't expect any of that to be automatic anyway. I remember the last time under President Clinton, a failure in this end, and it wasn't our president who sat down with Kim Jong-il, Un's father. It was Madeleine Albright, our Secretary of State, and that was a hot mess. And they had a strategy, apparently. She sat for 6 hours, and it was embarrassing.
Well, it is, and you brought up a great point. As Senator Warren says she's worried about the strategy, and I've heard other people say, well, we need to have experienced diplomats. Keep in mind, as you just brought up from President Clinton and President Bush and then President Obama, they had the experienced career diplomats. And we don't, and you see what we're at today. I mean, they've got nuclear weapons, they've got ICBMs. So maybe it is time to have a negotiator go in there, eye to eye. He can bark out his demands, and we'll go from there. And I think this is a good thing. I think this is outside of the box thinking, and so many times in Washington, that's what we need. We got to get out of the playbook that didn't work in the past.
This is playing out while our top diplomat, Rex Tillerson of the Secretary of State, is out of the country. He's on the continent of Africa on a prolonged trip there. But he did make the comment that he hasn't heard yet directly back from North Korea, but he expects to. Can you talk with me, Congressman, about where we are with our diplomats and if we have enough staffing?
We could always use more, but keep in mind there's a lot of them that have been nominated. They haven't worked through the Senate yet, and the holdup is in the Senate. And that's something that I think they all need to work through. But talking to Secretary Tillerson, and I've got the utmost respect for him, I think he's doing an awesome job. He feels they maybe have not enough people in some areas. But keep in mind, he said, the people that are there are doing an awesome job in fulfilling the needs and the diplomatic needs of the United States of America and representing that. And we've had the opportunity to travel to those areas. And it seems like our relationships with these countries are strong in the Southeast Asia Pacific region. It could be better always. And I think with the staff that we have, they're doing an awesome job.
One more element of this is the military. And the fact that this president is believed to be, around the world, somebody who will use that might when it's necessary. How has that aided or not aided what's happening now with this potential one-on-one?
Oh, that's paramount. If it wasn't for the attitude that we have in this administration, leaving the attitude of strategic patience, which allowed Kim Jong-un to develop 4 nuclear bombs or detonate those, and then rapidly expand his ICBM program, you've seen that come to an abrupt halt or a pause because this president spoke. And, I don't want to say it was a red line, but people know when he says something, he's going to back it up, as he's proven in the past. So I think that's had a big hand in this play.
Congressman Yoho of the great state of Florida, thank you for your time today.
That's right. Thank you.